start with, you need to sand your board down, as I've told you before. You need to get that plastic PVC coating off, just a light sand just to dull it a little bit. You can usually tell if you hold it to the light. If there's any shiny bits, that's the bit that needs sanding. Draw your design on. So that's my bunch of sausages. I hope they look like sausages with a label. So all sanded down, drawn on, and the colours, I think I'm going to do the sausages first. And the colour, what is it, beige red. So let's start painting the sausages first. So a bit more water on there. I might need a softer brush actually. This one might be a little bit stiff. Let's see how it goes. It's not too bad. So I'm going to go inside the label. I don't want to go over the label. Go over the outline of the sausages. I've left the pencil marks on because I really want to see where each individual sausage is. Now this sand is actually an old rusty sand, so hopefully we're going to, even though it's in PVC Foamex board, we're going to get it looking rusty. Next is the highlights. So the same colour again, which is the beige red, only this time I'm mixing it with white. So I've got that mixed. I think I'll add a little bit of water to it. And all it is just putting the highlights where you think the highlights should be. Following the shape of the sausages. I might want to blend this in a little bit more, so I'll get my softer brush and just sort of work the edges in a little bit. This will have a tendency to dry paler anyway than what it looks now. I think it would have a little bit up here as well on the top. Always remember to try and keep the shape there. Right, so let's move on to the next one. This one's a little bit further down. A bit more water. It dries really quick, this paint. Gone over a bit there, so I'll just dab that off. Won't make a lot of difference. Just going to blend it out again. Just so you don't have a sharp edge. Post it's a slightly darker blue, but I want it a bit brighter, so I've gone for a royal navy blue. And it doesn't matter if I go over the wording, because I can still see it faintly through, which will be enough for me to do my stenciling over. So let's get the first coat. I've already made a start. Basically it's virtually a wash is this. I know some of my voice is a bit croaky. But if you're like me, you sometimes just don't know when to stop. Right, so I'm going to have to leave that to dry now, and then we'll come back to it. So yeah, I can just vaguely see where my stenciling wants to be. So let's leave that to dry. Quite like the colour of the sausages. Okay, so what we're doing now is stenciling the name of the sausages on. What I will have to do when I put this stencil on is actually fill it in and just enhance it a little by putting some lining on, etc. But I've got to do the basic first. It's not a great stenciler, but we can work with it. This brush is just an old brush that I've ended having to cut down rather than throw it away, and I just use it for stenciling. Need plenty of paint on your brush. It's just a dabbing action. I always give the back a wipe just in case there's anything on there. So what I tend to do is go from one side to the other, and it gives each side a chance to dry off a little bit so you don't smudge it. Right, so the next job to do now is to just join up the letters, enhance them a little bit, maybe adding a shadow or something to them. And then I'll have to get my smaller stencil out to do Royal Cambridge down there. So I'll carry on and I'll do that. With the sign, I've put a border on. I've outlined the lettering. Don't have to be super neat because it's going to be distressed anyway. I've put the highlights and lowlights onto the sausages. I've put a border around. So next job now is to put the rust spots in. So I'm going to start off with black. So I'll find myself a brush, and all it is just making up areas where you think this rust might be. You can have big patches, small patches, it's up to you. The reason I'm using black is because if you look at some of the rust spots, you can see it's like the tin underneath, because this is the tin one. And you just put in little blotches such as that, and you just find your own pattern when it comes to this. Go to all this trouble making lovely sausages, lovely sign, and then you start messing it up. So I'm going to carry on with that until I think I've got enough rust on it. Don't want a lot of black showing through, but just a little bit. So I'll carry. I've done the red ochre, just touched it on top of the burnt umber, and I've also added in some parts a little bit of terracotta, just so it looks like it's slightly newer rust that's coming. We usually find that in the smaller dots of rust. So the final job as far as the rust is concerned for me is I'll get a really fine brush with some white on, and then I'm just going to go and find little areas where the black is, and hopefully that's the idea of that, is it'll give it a little bit of depth as to the edge of the where the chips come out of the metal. Takes a little bit of time. You don't have to go all the way around, just want a little bit showing. So again, we'll carry on and do that, and get back to you again. and then it's distressing time, giving it a good scrub over with a bit of emery paper. So there we go. I don't know if you can see it, but we've just got light white outlines there, which is just the new tin coming through. And that's it as far as the rust goes. I don't want to go too wild, so what I'm going to do now is distress it and then run a raw umber wash over it. It just puts in a few lines. Don't go silly. But by putting the raw umber wash over it, it also makes it look like there's dirt, and it's been there for quite a while. Right, so I've got the raw umber wash ready. I'm hoping I've not got it too dark or too thick, and we're just going to go over it as a wash. This will dry a lot lighter than it looks at the moment. While you're doing that, just get a bit of tissue and just dab it in places. Right, I'm going to leave that to dry now. Finished sign. Remembering to put the Palethorpe sign in red across the middle. So our first demonstration of one of our painting techniques is brickwork. It's just going to be standard brickwork. I've made the bricks slightly larger just for demonstration purposes. I've roughed it up, I've tapped in the bricks, I've sanded it down so it gives a nice dull appearance. So let's start off with the basic colour, which is going to be buff titanium. If you want it slightly darker mortar, just add a bit of brown. Or you could actually just get sort of coffee latte is a good colour for mortar as well. So it's just a matter of using a rough brush and just getting it in all the nooks and crannies. If you hear any noises in the background, that's Steve, who's doing a few little jobs as well. Can't really ban him because it's his workshop.
It's a bit tricky.
Right, so that's the basic mortar colour on. So now I'm going to leave that to dry. Right, time for the second coat. And we're using terracotta. And all we're doing with this is just random strokes, whichever way you want to do it, it doesn't matter. But just try to avoid getting into the mortar, but if you do get it into the mortar, just get a cocktail stick or edge of a tissue and just rub it along, and it should take it out. Now I've added a little bit of water to this terracotta because I didn't want a really deep brick colour. I'm going to build it up as I go along. So let's leave that one to dry. For our second coat of terracotta, I'm just using it straight from the tube, so it gives it like a dry brush technique, and I'm just again going to randomly put a bit more paint on the brush to start with, and just randomly putting strokes on. So now I'm going to leave that one to dry. Our third coat of the brickwork is the terracotta, which I've added burnt umber to. So we're looking at something like that colour. Just adds a bit of age to it. It's a slightly dry brush technique again. So, and again it's just random strokes. So we'll leave that one to dry. Okay, so our final work on the brickwork is going to be Mars Black, and it's a dry brush technique again. So I'm going to load my brush and just wipe it off on a bit of tissue. I'm just going to try and get round the lightly stroke across it, and then you'll just pick up the edge of the bricks. If you want a darker brick, then by all means go over a brick. Go over a full brick if you want. go in both directions. There we go. So there's the brickwork. Okay, so this sample is going to be of a tin roof, and as usual I've started off sanding it down, but first I scrubbed in some lines with this handy tool, put that down, and then I've just, with the wider end of the tool, you get a narrow end and a wide end, or broader, whichever way you want to put it, but use a narrow one first. Get your line scrubbed in, depending on how wide you want your corrugation, and then just run the wider one down, and it just rounds them edges off a little bit and opens it up. I've added in some separations for the different tin sheets. I've added some holes where it would be fastened down. I've put some little marks and dints and imperfections in. So the colour I use for doing tin is basically just Payne's grey and silver. So I'm going to start off with the Payne's grey. Don't forget to do your edges. Really matter about that back edge, but as it's a demonstration we'll put it on. I'm going to leave that to dry now. The next colour for the tin roof is going to be silver, so I'm just going to put a bit just to one side, and I'm going to add a little bit of water just to make it a bit looser, and a tissue to dab it off. So let's a bit more water, I think. Okay. What this does is actually gives it a mottled effect, which if you look at tin roofs, they do tend to have a mottled effect. It's the galvanisation, I think, in it. Okay, and that's all we're going to do for that one till it dries again. We'll put that to one side and let it dry. So now we're going to do the rust. personal choice whether you have rust or not, but I'm going to start off with burnt umber. Well then, I'll turn it round because I think that's, I don't really know, I think it's going to make a lot of difference. So I'm going to assume this is looking from the top towards me. So I'm just going to try and imagine where the rust is going to form. It's up to you again how much you want to put on. I want to be quite an old rust. Water, not too much. Slightly draw it along and then it'll just pick up little areas. You won't have it too concentrated. Don't forget the corners, it tends to leave them places. Right, so that's the first. So next coat of the rust is going to be terracotta. Again, I'm just going to put it where maybe I think some new rust might be just coming through. A little dab. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that now for the rust, so I'm hoping you can see that okay. And that's my version of a tin roof. This project is a wooden floor or planking or a door, whichever colour, but this is just a basic wood one. Depending on the colour of the base colour that you use, if you want a really old antique wood that's been weathered quite a lot, you can use a grey, but for this, my purpose here, I'm going to use again buff titanium, which is a colour I do use for a lot of base colours. What I've done as before, sanded it down, took the shine off. I've also scribed in some lines. I know a lot of people say, well, you won't see the this sort of grain, but it just adds to the effect, so it's your choice whether you put it in or not, but it does add to the effect. So we're going to put the basic colour on this and then we'll let it dry. So again, get it well in. I may show you the different effect with the grey. So the next coat for the wood is raw umber, and all I'm going to do there is I've added a little bit of water to it, but not a lot. And again, I'm just going to do light strokes down each panel. Don't worry if you get some darker ones, it all blends in. I'm doing light strokes because I don't want to completely obliterate the grain. Right, so I'm going to leave that one to dry now. Well, before I do, I'll just do the edges. You never know, I might use it as a door. So for the second coat of the timber or the planking, I'm going to use raw umber again, slightly thicker, and I'm just going to again just light strokes along. I don't want to obliterate all the light wood. Go down the edge where the creases are. Right, so back to our planking, and our next coat is the raw umber mixed with a bit of Mars black. What we're going to do there is just draw it in from the edges. Again, it's like a dry brush technique. good in between where the join, and get a bit more paint on the brush. And just flick it back. Go down the seams and just make sure you catch some of the edge so it picks up the edge of the planks. Again, draw it from the bottom. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. So there's our planking. Okay, so I've done 2 pieces of planking. That's the one I showed you how to do with the buff titanium base colour, and this is the one with a grey base colour. Now, really it's an individual thing and what type of wood you're looking for, but there's the two different ones. I'm hoping you can see them okay. So there you go. So now we've got, let's have a look, we've got the wood planking again, we've got the brickwork and the tin roof. So there's 4 samples of different ways of painting things. So I hope you have a go and enjoy.